Thank you so much. Then I see, anybody who has applied for elections from the diaspora, we always call them Waheshimiwa. So I see Mheshimiwa Josh Ongoro, he was one of the members in our planning committee. If he can just say a word.
Hello? Azimio? 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 Hapana, Azimio? Kweli inawezekana, na itawezekana. Azimio, our governor has never Morienzi, itawezekana. Thank you. Thank you for giving me this 1 minute. I might not have any other chance. I want to be very happy to see all of us here. We're here for one cause. And thank you for recognizing my joy in many years, Mr. Chairman, was a lot of things I had in mind. I see it coming through. May the good Lord bless you as we work together to make this successful. Thank you.
My other able lady who was in the planning committee, Susan Mavera, please come forward and say a word.
Good evening, everyone. Wanasimio. Asimio.
Inawezekana.
Asimio.
Inawezekana.
Our governor, Mr. Oparanya, Mr. Ongwae, the senators, the assistant to Mr. Ongwae, welcome to Minnesota. Mr. Ongwae, you have been here before. This is not in Minnesota because it was a very short notice, but still people are on the way coming. Mr. Oparanya, your first time here in Minnesota. You are the first time to be here in Minnesota, so welcome, and we are expecting you back very soon with Baba. This is Baba's home, so we can't just do this today and you go. We are expecting you back very soon. Mr. Oparanya, the chair of Azimio, I think you are taking the notes for that. Minnesota is being swing for Baba. So we expect you, but for now, welcome. And our community, welcome. Feel home, feel wenye Azimio. Azimio iko hapa leo. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sister. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sister Susan. I see another honorable member who was in the planning committee, Henry Mogire. Can you say a word, please? I think it's because of time. I'm just...
Asante Bwana Chairman, thank you so much. Azimio. Inawezekana, nasema Azimio. Inawezekana. Azimio. Hawa wengi wasikia, unajua hao ni wanasiasa. Na wanasiasa without the crowd and the vibrancy, then I was killed. So bas, wageni karibuni Minnesota. The honorable governors, respected the vibrant senators, Senator Kajuan, Senator Orekina, karibuni Minnesota sana. Hapa unasema Kibra is your bedroom ya baba. Minnesota and your bedroom ya baba. And mwenye anataka kunichallenge ndani because hapa ni bedroom ya baba. Watu walipewa Julia few not silikuwa kidogo sana. Ilikuwa very short, but they are here because hapa ni bedroom. So karibuni Minnesota. Hapa bila home manake because hapa ni bedroom ya baba. Asante.
Thank you, Mheshimiwa Henry Mogire. I want one gentleman to come and say a word. If you see any Azimio here that you have been seeing all over Minnesota, he is part of the executive committee. That is Colin Sorenge. He can change anything for Azimio. He can change any attire for Azimio in a second. So even when we are here, if you tell him something, he will just come right away. So I want him to say a word.
sorry, I kind of like sat in the back. I want to see everybody looking good. Senator Ledama, Oparanya, Governor Ongwae, Kajang, karibu sana. And I think Minnesota has been kind of like underlooked. And I hope the next dispensation, actually before you vote, we want you guys to come back. We want to do a major showdown for you guys. So please, mkienda nyumbani, don't shut off your lines. Make sure you leave them open because we're inviting you back. So karibuni nyote, and tafadhali, let's wacha tusemezane and let's tell them what we need. I wouldn't want to release everything at this moment. I'd like to talk after this. Wakati tunaongea si wote pamoja. We have a lot to tell them and to convince our people back home. Baba, we need a consulate, so kuna mengi yanakuja. Karibuni.
Thank you so much. I think there are some other members who are not with us tonight. Oh, I see one member, I think it might be the last one, Bwana Sam Ogoro, just 1 minute so that don't take time, it's just gonna be 1 minute. I can see people looking at you, they will always get scared when you get a microphone. So please, don't take more than a minute.
Wana Azimio, amjambo. Your Excellency, Banongwe, Oparanya, the governors, Oledama, senators. We don't have that protocol because I'm not a politician. Na wageni wote pale mliungana nao, karibu sana Minnesota. Wageni, karibu sana. And what I observed from there, I thought Oparanya, Governor Oparanya was very tall. Today, I saw he's shorter than Governor Ongwae. Oledama, most of the time, when you talk, I've never, then I saw you are even taller than your Oparanya. Karibu sana. Anyway, my names are, as he said, and mine will be very brief. Karibu sana. But I will say, Azimio, na inawezekana na inawezekana na I want to tell this team that why we support Baba, there are many other factors, but one factor we support him is because of devolution. Yeah, he fought for devolution, and the devolution really is there. The diaspora constituency is somehow disappointed. Just a minute, give me a minute. Is disappointed that some of the governors, because most of people left the diaspora to go home, invest, locally through diaspora. So should I stop here? I might not give it a chance. We are here to campaign for Baba. The thing I would want, the message they will take to him from diaspora is that the governors deliver such that why we are supporting devolution that it works. Thank you very much. I don't know if I messed up, but this is We are in our community and we have the leaders here. I don't know whether I'll give another chance. May God bless us.
I wanted to give him time when it's time to speak so that I can finish with the introductions. So because I know you guys, everybody has a lot of stuff so that we can go through that. So I wanted to finish the introduction. He'll come back and say and finish whatever he wanted to say. I think I have only Sam Mwangi and then we go. Sam Mwangi, where are you? He's part of the planning committee. Say hi to them. Just say your name because I think you are scheduled to speak.
Azimio. I can't hear you, Swaski. Azimio. Asante sana. Governors, senators, all the way from Kenya, we are so excited. Welcome to the state of Asitaongea sana, but I want to tell you, this is the face of ministry. Secondly, even if you go back to Kenya after the elections, you still need you to come back. There are so much opportunities, investments you can take back to our country. And lastly, watu wetu, don't forget our
the awareness that they cannot come here and fight. They cannot beat their children. They cannot beat their wives. They need to look for a way to resolve domestic violence, not by fighting. If they fight, they end up rotting in the jails. So please, take this message to Baba. Recently, one of the ladies, there is a lady that, by the name Madeline Muhera, whose hand was cut off. We are standing with that lady in Kenya, her hand was cut off. We are raising finances to support this girl. So we want to thank you very much for coming. We truly appreciate you. We know your family people. We know you will support this cause. Thank you very much.
Which gave birth to this Azimio La Umoja. So we in diaspora, there's a couple of things that we really ask from the incoming government. I'm going to make it brief because some of them we know have been mentioned by the chair, some are mentioned in DC, and some were not mentioned. So I'm going to just make it brief and give you a couple of highlights of the things we need. Number one, we want you guys to reverse the brain drain. You know, back on the ground and back from diaspora. We know Baba is listening, and this is a huge thing that we really want taken care of ASAP. The second thing, we want the incoming as a new government to make good use of some of the SMEs. We have subject matter experts who are ready to work with the incoming government to work on projects and help advise on some of the areas needed. Yes. So, you know, like you all know that this kind of setup usually, this is the best, you know, the best setup for us to articulate what we need. You know, so we have, like I was saying, we have a lot of subject matter experts who are ready to work with the government, and there is a lot of proposals of what could be done to kind of help the economy. We want, you know, we want employment creation to be number one, and that's going to be one of our fortes. Yeah, I'm sorry my microphone keeps going, but I hope you all can listen to me. Can you all hear me clearly?
we have a lot of natural resources in Kenya. You know, some of these things, it makes people laugh when we hear that we cannot create employment and there is resources on the ground. All we need is some investors to bring, you know, some industries which will take the employment and uplift the economy. So we really request the Azimio government to work with us. And there's a lot of people who are ready to work with you. So let's make this communication open, and down the road we can always reach out to you. Support of the fifth is one of our strategies right now, because we believe that his aim for the government of Kenya is what we all need. We know he's against corruption, and he's trying to make sure everything goes in a legal way. When, you know, when something is right, you make sure it goes through. Or if someone is qualified, let him do the job. So we want a transparent kind of perspective where everything will go. So we really support the fifth on that. And we really want the kind of politics to be politics of transparency, accountability, and we really make sure that everything. Can you hear me? All right. Yeah, so that was. So we want to make sure the fifth and the government, the incoming government works with us, and we are ready to also advise what we can. We have a lot of subject matter experts, as I said before, and in the end, that's what the politics is all about. And we do want to be included, and we want to participate in the politics of Kenya. We want to be included, and as the fifth said, we know we want the consulate over here, and that's going to be one of our channels of being able to communicate directly with the government of Kenya. So Governor Oparanya, we will be reaching out to you as a Minnesota Azimio and give you some proposals that we have. Thank you very much, everybody, and welcome.
Governor Ongwae, as the chair of Azimio, Governor Oparanya, Senator Odinga, Senator Ojuan, leaders of the Azimio Minnesota chapter, leaders of our community and our churches, all protocols observed. It's very hard to speak about healthcare without thinking about a few things. One is health that is associated with water, so safe water and sanitation help. We are hoping our government continues to improve in that sector. It's very important for the health of our citizens. We are hoping that nutrition and food security is also on the agenda, because without food, you can't have a healthy workforce. And we're also hopeful that our housing continues to be affordable so people can get affordable housing. But today I want to talk about healthcare. In Minnesota today, we're less than 1% of the population, those of us of African descent, but we're 20% of the healthcare workforce. So as you look around in our community, we have a lot of resources, and I think all of us are willing to contribute to the improvement of the health of our country. So you can reach out to us. I wanted to share just a few tidbits. In the United States today, our annual spend in healthcare is $4.2 trillion. Think about it, $4.2 trillion, which is 18% of our GDP. Our spend per person is $12,000 per year.
In Australia and the United Kingdom is a little lower at 5,000. And our insurance penetration is 91%. In other words, our citizens here who are insured. In the 20 and 2021 budget, our government only allocated $1 billion for the entire Kenya. And out of that, including private spending, we only spent about $3.5 billion to take care of almost 50 million people, which is about 4.5% of our GDP. So we're grossly underfunded. In fact, the African Union tells us that if we don't spend up to 15% of our GDP, we will never attain universal healthcare. It's a fact. In 1960, the United States was only 5% of GDP, but as their population has grown, so has their spending. Let me give you something more sobering. How much money do we spend per person? $12,000 per person per year in the United States. In 2000, Kenya only spent $21 for every citizen. Investment in health. It's better in the last 20 years. In 2019, we finished at about $85 per person. The World Bank estimates that 100 million people on our continent fall into poverty because of healthcare. Imagine your loved one is sick, you sell your cow, you sell your shamba. It's pushing our people into poverty. The other thing is we have to train people to work in our healthcare environment, which means we have to think about how we train. Do we train to match the United States, or do we train for the local context? For example, we should train our surgeons so that they can do almost all surgeries across multiple disciplines, because there are not many of them to go around. I want to submit to your excellencies that even as we look at your involvement in shaping some of our healthcare policy going forward, a few important factors. We cannot achieve universal healthcare without a strong primary care focus. We cannot achieve universal healthcare without strong community hospitals. If you go to Kisii, thanks to the Japanese, we have a very good referral hospital. Governor Oparanya built a magnificent hospital in Kakamega, right? Not all the citizens can go to these hospitals when they have a headache and a cold because they're overwhelmed with the system. So why do I say these things? Healthcare in Kenya is underfunded. I will tell you what, in my opinion, is making it worse and is going to help make us not achieve universal healthcare in just a minute. The National Health Insurance Fund, I can now pay $60 for my grandma to get covered. But after she goes to the hospital, it's not enough, right? What we have done in Kenya is failed to address the healthcare cost. I'll give two examples. If you go to the urban towns now, every corner has a big hospital. You go to Kisii. I was in Kisii last year, and I remember shaking my head, are we this sick? There's a hospital everywhere, okay? Unfortunately, our shift to private healthcare means our citizens pay, they sell their land, and you know what happens in the private sector? Once your money gets finished, what happens? You get discharged. You don't have any more money. It's not about the care of the person. It's about the healthcare business. So I want to submit this. We used to have something called amenity wards. If you go to Kenya today, very few hospitals, government hospitals, have amenity wards. So what used to happen in the past is you have an amenity ward. If I'm a consultant in the hospital, instead of going to my private clinic, I have patients come, I can do some little private practice. But in the process, guess what? If they have insurance, the hospital can charge you Jubilee and the other insurance companies, they can charge NHIF. We have allowed the private sector to take the majority of the NHIF contributions at the expense of our citizens. It's not fair, it's not right. So I would like to finish by saying this. let us think about improving funding for healthcare, increase the amount of contributions from NHIF. Let's rationalize the cost of private insurance. And you see this diasporans here, we are contributing almost half of that healthcare spend that I talked about. And so it brings me to a program we call Diaspora Care. So those of you who are here, now when I have to pay for healthcare for my mother, I do it through my phone because of this program. And those of you who are here tonight, if you are able to download the app, add somebody in your family as a beneficiary, you will get for free for the next 12 months a number to call whenever somebody in your family is sick. They will call and get telehealth for free for a whole year. And you can meet with us after this and we can send you high. Just to conclude, we have a lot of healthcare expertise in this community, and we would like to really encourage you to reach out to us. We're not asking you to do anything extraordinary, but at least give us a chance to hear our perspective. Thank you.
Our home, Hulda Momani, she's running for Senate. Hata yetu support. Thank you so much.
My name's Dr. John Makori. I'm the Azimio Minnesota chair. For those who know the history of where we are, it's been a long journey. Most of you are still here. I see some of those we have worked together. Some of them are aspirants now. They are vying back home. We started this journey, there are those who started way back, but I remember since I landed in 2001, we started getting involved with Baba here in Minnesota. So I take this opportunity, first of all, to welcome our guests to Minnesota. As they have said, this is Baba's bedroom. Governor Oparanya will start with you. Governor Oparanya is not just Governor Oparanya right now. He is the chair of the Azimio Coalition Executive Council. So when you speak to him, clap for him, because when you speak to him, you are speaking to Baba right now. And actually, he was bestowed to come and speak here as if it's Baba speaking here. So when you see Governor Oparanya here, just know Baba is here. Governor Ongwae, we have been with you several occasions, we have shared with you. Thank you for considering Minnesota. I'm told you were involved so much in telling the Secretariat that you have to come to Minnesota. Thank you so much. Thank you for doing that. And our senator, able senator, I didn't know you were this tall. You know, sometimes when I see you, I thought you were my size. But I was surprised that you can dwarf me. I'm so grateful that you came to this great state of Minnesota. When people heard that you were coming, I had so many phone calls. People were like, are you sure they are going to be a virtual or physical? I said it will be a physical. Now they have seen your side. Maybe you will start, they see you again how tall you are, but when your time comes. So, Senator Ledama Olekina, welcome to Minnesota. Welcome. This is, I hope, your first time to Minnesota. You will see how it's Baba's bedroom. Senator Kajuan, we didn't even, this is how this thing has been unfolding. We didn't even know that you would make it to Minnesota until I think it was around 3 a.m. in the morning today. That's when we knew that you would be in Minnesota. So I want to tell you that the team that you are seeing here, as you know, after the death of our former president, Mwai Kibaki, things changed so drastically. And we were being updated from the Secretariat every minute, like who is coming, are they going to cancel the meeting? But I'm happy that these guests here, the senators you see here, the governors you see here tonight, they insisted that at least they have to pass through Minnesota before going back to Kenya. We are grateful for that, and we will never forget for remembering us during this particular moment. Going back to the team that is here, my fellow senators, my fellow governors, the people you see here, I've been yearning for a better Kenya for a long time. Minnesota, the people you are seeing seated here tonight, have fought for a better Kenya. They have fought for a better constitution for Kenya. They have fought for the revolution, as one of them said, when they are here in the diaspora. As you have said, our Baba the Fifth has been to Minnesota like almost 4 times. At one time I remember, he came to Minnesota and there was a lot of snow. It had snowed so much, and we were scared whether people were going to attend his meeting. And I remember our Secretary General, where is Henry Mumanyi? I remember Henry Mumanyi, and I was very young in Minnesota then. I remember him taking me around with Baba, and then we could take him to some of the churches so that we can get people to the meeting for Baba's event. So you can imagine Baba has worn the boots. He has walked in the snow in Minnesota to campaign for a better Kenya. And we must clap that for Baba. So, what I know that the Minnesotans who are seated tonight have insisted, they have told me that they are with Baba and they are with Azimio up to the end. In fact, it was so hard to convince them that Baba was not coming to Minnesota. I might leave that maybe to the Secretariat, who is the protocol lady here, Harriet. She arrived a day earlier, and I might thank her. Harriet, thank you so much, Harriet, because you really worked so hard from your other end, from the Kenyan Secretariat. You engaged with the Minnesota chapter. You were trying very hard to make sure that Baba comes through Minnesota. You are trying so hard to make sure that Baba comes through Minnesota. But because of the busy schedule, it could not happen. But we are happy we have the same guests here who are representing Baba tonight. And as most of you have said, when they go back home, we need a rewind of this before the election. But before even we ask them for a rewind, I believe as Minnesota, let's do something to show them that we need them to come back. Let's do something, let's campaign for Baba. Let's show them that we are putting Baba the Fifth so that they can come back. I will take another few minutes, just briefly to say, one person mentioned, our senators, our governors, we have been yearning for a consulate here in Minnesota for a long time. One of our aspirants who is running for the governorship in Nyamira, Governor Wakili Ogeri. I remember one time when Raila came, you were drafting some memorandum of understanding for a consulate here in Minnesota. So it's been a long time. We've started this for a long time. But I'm glad when Baba was in New York, he said that as soon as he gets into office, hiyo mambo ya consulate in Minnesota, hiyo mambo ya consulate in Texas, alisema atamaliza mara moja. I think if you listen to his speech, for those who listen to his speech, he mentioned Minnesota #1. So we are hoping that this time round, if we put Baba into office, then the issue of the consulate will be solved. Number 2, the issue of voting. I know most of you senators who have come here, the governors who have come here, you are really ashamed when you ask how many people registered from the diaspora to vote back in Kenya. You are really surprised. But let me tell you this. I traveled with a team of 5 people to go and do the registration, voter registration in Washington, D.C. It took me a ticket of like $500 to get a ticket to D.C. and back to Minnesota. Thank God, for at least one good reason, I had some friends there who gave me accommodation for 2 days, so I didn't pay for the hotel. If I could have paid for the hotel, it would have costed me like almost $1,000 for me to do the voter registration. Then when I was doing the registration, I found I was number 195. So that means for the whole month that people who were doing registration in Washington, D.C., it was 195 people who had registered. And I stayed for 2 days until they closed the registration. So that means we didn't do that. Most people in the diaspora did not register. But let me tell you why. This is what we are sending you back as our senators and as our governors. This process can be made so easy. This process can be made so easy. If we have a consulate here, or before even we have a consulate, before we used to have the embassy officials, they travel around the states. They come so that we can take our national IDs. We used to have them coming to Minnesota so that we can take our national IDs.
We need them to go around and register people for their Kenya identification. We need them to go around to get even the registration for the passports, for the fingerprint. We don't have to travel to Washington, D.C. Another thing they need to do, we need you to go back as our representatives. Tell them that IBC should change the rules. Let the voter registration to be done. As soon as you go to get your passport, do the voter registration at the same time. If you are going to get your ID, do your voter registration at the same time. We don't have to wait for another 4 years for them to announce for voter registration. It can be done as they process the passports, as they process the national identification card. They should also do the voter registration at the same time. So, second, the thing that is touching most people here in Minnesota, or the diaspora, is the issue of how we can link, and I think one of my colleagues was about to talk about that, how we can link the diaspora and our Kenyan people or our Kenyan government, policy-wise, how we can link them effectively. Why do I say this? I remember, Governor Boy, when you came here one time or 1 or 2 times, we had talked about having a diaspora desk in Kisii County. But I think now, Governor Boy, you're in the second term, you're leaving office, most likely that diaspora desk did not work very well. If it was established, I don't think it has worked very well. I think we need now to take the diaspora serious and establish these diaspora offices in the counties, whether the county of Kakamega, whether the county of Narok, whether the county of Kisii, whether the county of Nyamira, and actualize them. Let them actually work, so that from there we can channel our grievances, we can tell you what we want. Why do I say this? If we have a diaspora desk, and I think Baba said in DC, once he comes to government, he's going to have, a diaspora national desk also. Because what Papa said is very clear. We have not channeled the contributions or the investments from the diaspora here to Kenya very effectively. Most of the time what we do, we send money to pay bills, we send money to pay for the hospital bills. But when it comes to issues of bonds, where we can invest effectively, we have not organized ourselves in groups where we can work even with the county, we can work with the central bank, so that we can go there and buy even these bonds as the diaspora. This needs to be, let me tell you, by the way, if you don't know, we have foreign investors, when they go to buy their bonds in the central bank issued bonds, they are given a special preferences as foreign investors. Yet, these diasporas are foreign investors. These diaspora people are foreign investors. Who is better to invest in Kenya than maybe somebody from China buying those bonds, than having these people come together as Kenyans and buy those bonds for investment? Because you know what it means? If they make a profit, that money goes back to Kenya. So this is very critical. We have to work on this aspect in a very critical way. On healthcare, I know so many people are going to speak about that, but we have to leave this building, engage our governors, how we can effectively work with them, how we can effectively invest back in Kenya. It doesn't matter to go all the way maybe to China and get 1 million, let's say $1 million US dollars as a loan for investment, when if all these people could contribute even $500, if you have these people contributing $500 and make even a cooperative, you will get that 1 million you're going to look for from China. This is the investment right here. So we have not tapped this, this bed. And I think as you traverse, as you talk to us, please, we want to see how we can make that very effective. Lastly, I want the governors and us today engage our members here tonight, because as I told you, we were not able to register as much as we wanted as voters. But we can be very effective agents for Azimio, for Baba from here. So we want to kind of negotiate with you, talk with you, tell us where we can help you. As I told you, we have our propaganda TV, we can tweak things back home for campaigns in Baba's favor. But anyway, I don't get that. But there's a lot of power here. So many people have the gadgets, so many people have the means. We have been talking even adopting a village. We are working on adopting a village as Azimio here, so that we can help you in this election period. Ladies and gentlemen, time is running out. If we don't put Raila Odinga as the 5th president of Kenya, time is running out. One time, Martin Luther Jr. King said that this is not time to deal that. I think because of time, I'm going to cut it short because I want the other speakers so that they can add on that. But anyway, I want to hear more from you, to share with our governors and tell us what you want them to take back home. Thank you so much. Thank you for having given me this chance that I've served with you as the chair of Azimio. Thank you. God bless you all.
Because this is a weekend, and if I want to work tomorrow, it's late. So if you come forward, I know we have a lot that we can share. We are very passionate about our country, and we want to do the best for our country. But we cannot cover everything tonight. So when I give you an opportunity to come, just take a minute or so that everybody else, they can ask a question or contribute. We don't want to get this from one source. So I believe, Mr. Chair, next time we'll do better than now. Now, I know Mwanakandra is here. Mwanakandra has been a politician, but now he's a musician. We want him to put one number for Baba that he has specially dedicated and composed for Baba. Then we'll continue with the speeches. So Mwanakandra, you can, make the blood flow again within the room, then we can continue. Just for 2-3 minutes. Come on. I know.
Azimio ndani. Raila Odinga, sisi twakupenda, Kenya yetu yote twakupenda, makabila yote yaliyomo nchini Kenya. Raila Odinga, sisi twakupenda, kina baba, kina mama na vijana, wanasema kura yao kwa Raila, ole tatizo ili chuma tulikate, tukawakie watu wako wadogo, nyama ya chungwa wakubwa watakule, mchuzi wake watoto wakanyonye. Kwende sasa. Raila nakupenda, Raila nakupenda, Raila nakupenda, Raila nakupenda. Kama pete na chanda, kama pete na chanda, penda penda penda. pendana na wakenya wote twaungana yo penda tupendana. Mazuri umeshatutendea na mengi sasa twatege. Mazuri umeshatutendea na mengi sasa twatege. Albandra nimeshakubali rurale na yameitika. Waheshimiwa wetu gavana Oparanya, watu wazuri sana. Karibu Minnesota.
Jani moto ukipanda mlima. Wakenya wote, makabila yote hapa nchini Kenya, tunainuka kumuunga Raila Amolo Odinga. Kumbuka kwamba mimi naitwa Albandra mwana
DJ. Asanteni sana ndugu zetu wa Minnesota. Shukria DJ. Mheshimiwa Gavana Ongwae, I served in the government of Kisii County as a member of County Assembly. He was my governor by that time, of whom I respect so much mpaka inabidi kwanza kofia chini. Mheshimiwa, karibu sana Minnesota. Mheshimiwa Oparanya na timu yote kwa ujumla. I was the first member of the County Assembly, Kisii County government under his governance, James Omariba Ongwae. Kwa hiyo wakituambia azimio ni azimio, hakuna kitu kingine. Asanteni sana na Mungu awabariki. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Manakandra. That's how we know him. So, you are the bosses, so my friends.
Thank you very much. How are you guys doing? How are you doing? Mnasema azimio. Nadhani inawezekana. Yeah? Inawezekana. I'm going to try and see whether I can use one microphone. I use both of them. Okay. I was sitting right there and I was listening to you guys talk. And then it took me back to 1995 when I first came to the US. I lived in the US for over 20 years. Over how many years? 20 years. And when I was here, I lived in Massachusetts, I lived in Colorado, and I also lived in Kentucky. And when I was here, all those ideas that you're talking about were lingering in my mind. Every single day. In fact, I've just listened to the last gentleman who spoke about healthcare. And when I look at all of you here, you're all, one way or the other, working in the healthcare field. Yes, true or false? True. And we are trying to do so much in Kenya. And I think this is why we're here today. Because Senator Kajwang and myself worked day in, day out to pass the new NHIF bill, which we hope will be able to resolve most of the problems that we have in the country. So tonight we're here to talk to you. We're here to explain to you what it is that our party leader, Raila Odinga, has in store for you people in the diaspora, what our party leader has in store for Kenya in the real 21st century. So what I will do, because we don't want to bore you with a lot of things, my job is going to be very simple. I'm going to share with you our journey, but I have the distinguished senator from Homa Bay, Senator Moses Otieno Kajwang, who I will first of all invite. But before I invite him, I want to share with you what it is that we're doing as the Azimio team. We have traversed the whole country of Kenya, talking about the issues, talking about Babacare, the healthcare. You guys, you send a lot of money to Kenya. Every year. In fact, I'm sure even right now somebody is probably in his phone or her phone sending money home. So you're sending money home, you know?
And maybe you're sending that money so that you can be able to pay for someone's medical bill, someone's school fees, right? Do you guys know that Raila has said when he becomes president, there will be no child left behind? Every child will be paid for school fees. See, that will lessen your burden. So, Azimio is a coalition of so many political parties, people who share the same ideology. And we in the Senate made it possible, and in the National Assembly made it possible so that Azimio can be registered as a political party. So those are the things that we are going to tell you today, demystify them. These four gentlemen who are here, and I'll make it very simple. I want to introduce them so that you know we are here with a very powerful delegation. I will start just to tell you who they are, give you their titles, and then we can go on and on trying to respond to some of the questions or the issues that you've raised. Moses Otieno Kajwang was the chairman of the Public Accounts Investment Committee for 2 years, actually 3 years. And then after that, he is now the chairperson of devolution, the devolution committee. And you know, the Right Honorable Prime Minister Raila Odinga worked so hard to be able to bring devolution into the country. So Moses Otieno Kajwang will talk to you about some of the things that Raila Odinga is doing now to ensure that when he becomes the president, the day he becomes, not if, when he becomes president, what he'll be able to do with the issue of devolution. Then we have, and you know these titles are so heavy, I had to write them down, so let me just read them here, because I don't want to forget. Governor James Ongwae, who I'm sure represents most of you here. Sindio, he's your governor. He's also the vice chairman of the Council of Governors. And he's also the vice chairman of the Lake Region Economic Bloc. And on top of that, he's also the member of the Presidential Campaign Board of Azimio. And this distinguished gentleman will speak to you about the issues that you've been able to raise. Now, to His Excellency Wycliffe Ambetsa Oparanya. You guys know who Oparanya is? Yes. Do you really know? Oparanya is the deputy party leader of ODM. And most importantly, he is the chairman of the Azimio Executive Council. These are the people who are working. These are the people who are trying to change Kenya. That's why all of you guys are here today. So we're here with solutions. And I'm sure by the time we are done talking to you guys, you will be picking up your telephones, you will be calling everybody, you'll be calling friends and telling them, Raila Odinga is a solution. Senivia too. He's also the chairman of the Lake Region Economic Bloc. These are guys with brains. They're people who come together and say, we want to uplift the standard of living of our people. He's also the chairman of the... he was the chairperson of the Council of Governors. And he used to appear before me when I was in the Committee of Public Accounts Investment in the Senate. And he would make sure that he responds to the questions. Even if he was the chairperson of all that, he would still come there and listen to us. So, I don't want to waste a lot of your time. I want to take 2 minutes and try to respond to a few things that I've had when I was sitting there. One, you guys have talked about ensuring that you can be able to get your passports when you need them, to be ensured that you can be able to get your visas for your children who are not yet dual citizens. Yes, sir. And what you're calling for is you are asking to be given a consulate here. That is the first thing that I want you to ask. The second thing is that you say that you want the talent which is here to be tapped. You want to be able to work with us in Kenya, to be able to assist us in this solution. There's no one, anyone else who will listen to you other than Raila Odinga. That's why he's here. That's why he has sent us to come and talk to you. That is why he was in Washington, D.C. That is why tomorrow we are going to engage Kenyans in Dallas. And then after that, some of us are going to San Francisco to continue engaging Kenyans, because we all want to work together. Ama namna gani? Si hiyo ndio nataka kufanya. So since I've heard some of the things that you guys want us to do, Azimio is really the solution. Because Azimio has brought all these people who think together, to come together, to form one coalition, to ensure that we have a country that is inclusive. Ama namna gani? We want to make sure, me I told the Masais that I'm going to be next to Baba, to ensure that the next government which is coming, we are not going to be told that you are Masai, since you are few, tapatia nini kitu kidogo. Hapana, hii keki kikapu tunasema wapi ya Masai. Ama namna gani? Na sasa hivi ukiona Gavana kwa hapa anasema wapi ya Wakisi, si ndio? Ukiona Gavana Oparanya akasema wapi ya Western yote. Okay? So really it's a government that is inclusive. And that is why we are telling Kenyans, we are the ones with solutions. Solutions for healthcare, solutions for education, solutions for the economy. You know, in 1994 when I was working for Reuters television, Eritrea was built by the diaspora when they were fighting for many years with Ethiopia. Diasporans are the ones who built that economy. Isaiah Afwerki was the prime minister then, and he relied heavily on you guys. So really, when we stand here, you guys are preaching to the choir. I know exactly what it means to be a diaspora. I left this country of the United States of America and I went to Kenya and I ran for governor. Later on, I ran for Senate. And in future, after Baba, I will run for president. And I will be the first one who will come. So really, I can feel you. And I want to tell you that the person with the solution is none other than Raila Odinga. So let me do this. Let me invite my colleague, my brother, the senator from Homa Bay, Moses Otieno, to speak to you. Karibu mheshimiwa.
Asante sana Seneta Ledamo Lekina. Kwa Wakenya wenzangu, nikisema Azimio unajibu namna gani? Na nikisema inawezekana na nani unasema? Azimio inawezekana na nani? You know, prior to joining politics, I was in the professional sector. And that combined with my Adventist upbringing meant that I was very temperate and very modest in my public pronouncements. But even Christ was temperate and moderate and modest until he went to the temple and he found that thieves and robbers had invaded the temple. Si Yesu alitoa nyaunyo? Hata sisi Kenya yetu imekuwa invaded na wezi na wakora, robbers and barons are in the house of worship. Itabidi sisi sote tutoke nje, tuhakikishe kwamba tumefagia nyumba, tumetoa wakora wote. And that is the reason why, despite the sad circumstances that we find ourselves in as a nation, mourning our third president, President Mwai Kibaki, our leader, Right Honorable Raila Odinga, gave us clear instructions. He was going to represent us at the funeral, but he was going to give us work to do. And that work to do was to come and talk to fellow Kenyans, not talk to them just to ask for their votes, but talk to them so that we can be partners. Talk to them so that we can harvest their skills, their experience, their resources, their collective wisdom to build a new Kenya. A Kenya where you will be proud to raise your children. I see in this room doctors, professors, PhD holders. I see students who have just landed in the United States of America, full of expectation. Some of you, from the look on your faces, could have been here for the last 10 years, 20 years,
I think almost 20 years. And I see huyu mzee ambaye amevaa Azimio, huyu inakaa amekula miaka 40 hapa Amerika. But what has happened in the world in the last 40 years or 20 years? Let's not even talk 40 years, let's talk 20 years. How has Vietnam been able to move from a country that was divided and torn apart by war to become the manufacturing base of the world today? When you go to Levi's, you buy a shirt, you find that it was made in Vietnam or made in Bangladesh or made in Pakistan. In those 20 years, if you travel to the Gulf states, go to the United Arab Emirates and see what the Arabs have been able to do with their oil wealth. In those 20 years, come to Africa and see what Rwanda has done coming out of the ashes of war. In those 20 years, come and see what Ethiopia has done. Before the war between the Tigrayans and the central state, Ethiopia was growing faster than Kenya, and it was set to overtake Kenya. In those 20 years, the Right Honorable Raila Odinga has attempted several times to be president of Kenya. We are confident and we are hopeful that with your support in the elections in August of this year, we shall have a president who will want to benchmark Kenya not with South Sudan, and I'm not saying South Sudan is a bad country to benchmark with, but we want to put Kenya at the same level as South Korea, same level as Singapore, same level as the United Arab Emirates, same level as Vietnam. Na ndio maana tukisema Azimio tunasema inawezekana. That is the philosophy of Raila Odinga. Inawezekana for Kenya to be a great nation. Inawezekana for Kenya to be a leader in the League of Nations. If the Arabs did it and the Vietnamese did it, what don't we have for us to achieve it? When I talk to the diaspora, I know that I'm talking to the finest. Coming to the United States of America is more difficult than becoming an MCA. I have seen a former MCA from DC. You see, to be an MCA, you don't need much. You just need a Form 4 certificate, and maybe if you did a course in carpentry, or masonry, or welding, or automotive engineering, otherwise you're a mechanic, you can become an MCA. For you to come to the United States of America, it is like going through the eye of the needle. And so when I talk to the diaspora in the US, I know I'm talking to the creme de la creme. You are here not by luck or by chance, but you are well prepared to come here. I think it was Dr. Bogonko who spoke. Why is it that out of a 1% population, you are 15% of healthcare workers? Where did you receive your basic training? It was not in the US, it was in Kenya. So when we have you here, we are dealing with the best. Personally, I spent 7 years of my professional life outside Kenya. And like many of you, I left Kenya 1 October with a suitcase. 7 years later, I came back to Kenya with a wife, with a child, with 3 degrees, and 2 years later, I was able to run for the office of Senate, following the circumstances that befell my family. Even back then, the money we used to send back home was doing the things that government should do. Number one, we were sending money that was going towards healthcare, health support. And I think that is one of your biggest bills as people in the diaspora. Leave alone food and upkeep, because it is cultural that even if your mother or father at home had all the money, you would still send them kitu kidogo. It's more of a token in many cases. But health, I saw families with medical bills of 2 million during the COVID pandemic. Who is funding that? Mostly you people in the diaspora. How can we change things so that health, which is a public good, we have the social contract with government, they tax us so that they provide services. Raila Odinga is talking about Baba Care. Daktari, you have got diaspora care. Now Raila sounds better. It is called Baba Care. It is called what? Baba Care. You know, guys, if this Baba Care becomes a reality, and I believe it will, because on that table, we have the gentlemen who have had the best experiment when it comes to provision of health services. As you know, health in Kenya, 90% of it is devolved. So the theater of operation is in the counties. We have seen what Governor Ongwae has done. We have seen what Governor Oparanya has done. These gentlemen, being the key advisors and the key anchors of Raila Odinga, I am sure that the conversation will be about how to empower our counties to provide the infrastructure, to provide the software, to provide the human resources necessary to deliver healthcare to our population. And so, whereas you are spending millions in sorting out your relatives, maybe that would go towards development. Another thing where the diaspora has been substituting government is when it comes to social projects and development. In my village, churches are built by members of the diaspora. Isn't that true? Adventist churches are booming in southern Nyanza, where I come from, in Homa Bay, in Kisii, in Nyamira, in those areas, and it is the support of the diaspora. Churches we shall build, and churches we shall build from our earnings, churches we shall continue to give tithe. But why should we be the ones to build schools? Why should we be the ones to build hospitals and build roads? I have seen in some cases members of the community fundraising and crowdsourcing to build roads. Raila says he wants 35% of resources to go to counties so that these things shall not be a burden upon those who have been lucky to get jobs. These issues can be done by the government because it is the government with whom we have a social contract. I believe that inawezekana. There is another area, and as I finalize, that it is unfortunate the diaspora is funding. The diaspora is funding corruption. And let me tell you how the diaspora is funding corruption. Your brother in the village wants to get a job with the TSC. You are called and you are told to get to the TSC, you have to pay how much? 200,000. Your brother wants to join the army. You are told to join the army, you have to pay how much? Last time it was 500,000. Aren't you the ones paying for those things? I know, tuseme tu kweli. Ili ndugu yako aingie kwa jeshi, aingie kwa TSC, we are financing that. Jeshi likuwa 400. So you see, they even know the price of corruption in the market. That is how bad it is. Raila has got a clear plan for dealing with corruption. Part of it, there will be personal commitments that he's making as a leader. There will be institutional reform. There will be things like using technology so that doing business with government is not an exercise in frustration. Have you guys registered your SIM cards? Yes. Have you registered your SIM cards? Yes. You had the option of doing it here, or you had to go back home. Yes, I did. There are small things like those, making government more responsive, making it easy to do business with government. Personally, my competencies are in technology and digitization. And the conversation that we are having with Raila is that we must have a digital government. We are complaining about a voter's card and voter's registration. Raila has said it countless times. Why must you have a separate document for birth, a separate document for national identification, another one for NHIF, for NSSF, for driving license, for voters' cards? Ladies and gentlemen, is it rocket science to have one document? Is it rocket science to have one document? If you are already 18, why can't you use your national identity to vote? Which brings me to the final point. No taxation without representation. I know you want representation. We were told in Washington, D.C., we need to have a diaspora MP. This gentleman told me that they are starting a diaspora party. Chama ya mabwenyenye. Mtaambiwa hiyo ni chama ya madynasty. But you cannot have representation if you are not registered as voters. And that is where the problem begins. But in a Raila government, we want to ensure we collapse national identity into one, so that the minute you qualify to come to the United States of America with your passport or your national ID, then you also qualify to be a voter. Mheshimiwa Ndagama, allow me just to the issue of dual citizenship. And the fact that if you're a dual citizen, you cannot be a state officer. Si hiyo mnaelewa? Ama hiyo bado hamjaangalia? I hope my friend there running in Bonchari knows that. I hope he's not a dual citizen. I hope all of you who want to run for office know that if you're a dual citizen, the Constitution prohibits you from being a state officer. And who's a state officer? MP and all those other offices, defined in the Constitution. Raila Odinga said it in Washington, D.C. 3 days ago. We are going to amend that provision so that we do not disenfranchise those who currently support the economy in the biggest way possible. If diaspora remittances is the biggest source of forex at the moment, then why don't we have focus to the point where we have a minister in charge of diaspora relations? That is a commitment, and I am just a messenger, so don't shoot the messenger. That is a commitment from Raila Odinga, na mimi naamini, mimi kama Moses Otieno Kajwang, naamini kwamba inawezekana kwamba tarehe 9 mwezi wa 8 Raila Odinga atainua Biblia na aseme mimi Raila Amolo Odinga na hapa ya kwamba nitatumikia Nyasaye chema na sema. Thank you very much. Let's appreciate. Once again, let me remind you one thing. Yeah? The reason why we're here today is because you guys, and by the time I finish saying what I'm saying right now, I want you guys to clap for yourself. Because just this year, the first quarter of 2022, do you guys know how much money you sent to Kenya? You sent $1 billion. $1 billion. You sent 124 billion Kenya shillings the first quarter. So can you please clap for yourself? And that is why Raila Odinga has sent us here to tell you that he feels you, to tell you that he will ensure that you have full representation. You know, it will not be a shock when we have a very senior person from the diaspora in Raila's government sitting in treasury. If we just imagine if you had a bank for the diaspora, how much interest will go back into developing that country? This is only possible with one Raila Odinga. I know all of you guys are on Google here, and facts are very stubborn. See, they're stubborn. Go check on Google, how much did the diaspora remit in the first quarter of 2022? And that grew up by 23.5% from the previous year, where you only sent 980 million. But that's a lot of money, right? So we're here because Raila believes that you guys are the ones who are supporting the Kenyan economy. So, before I continue further, let us appreciate the distinguished senator from Homa Bay, Moses Otieno. And now, the reason why His Excellency James Ongwae is here is because he believes in Azimio. He has already served his 2 terms as a governor of Kisii. But he wants continuity, right? And that is why he's here today. And as a vice chairperson of the Council of Governors, he knows what devolution has done for Kisii County. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's put up our hands and welcome His Excellency James Ongwae.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, my brother, the good senator from that good county of Narok. My brothers and sisters here in this great country of USA,
the leadership that we have here. I think I'll just take a minute. You people have been very good. John Makori, Chris, Henry Mumanyi, the Kibiatos of this world. My brother Pastor Mokua, last time I was here, you prayed for me. Is he still around? Yes. You prayed for me in church. And when I saw you, I remembered your prayers. I sincerely thank you. Mzee Tirimba, you know, we worked with you for many years in the Office of the President. By the way, this man was in the presidential escort unit of President Moi, and you know that I was your permanent secretary in charge of personnel management. I can see you are in good shape. My brother Sam Ogoro, has he left? West Mogrango is good. And you need to come back there, Sam. My brother, Dr. Bogonko, I will reply to some of the issues that you raised. And all of you who are here, sincerely, for me, when we came to the US with the fifth, I said that if we do not come to Minnesota, then we have not come to the US. And we have come here. It's very unfortunate that the fifth had to go back, but we've come here as a testimony and testament to the fact that we have the best candidate in the country. We have a man who has fought for democracy and for the subnational governments that we have ourselves right now in the country. A man who has fought for the poor and the helpless for many years. You know what happened in 2007. You know what happened in 2013. You know what happened in 2017. But like they say, there is a time, and I think this is his time. When I say inawezekana, I want you to say the faith. Inawezekana! Inawezekana! Thank you very much, my brothers. You know, there is a young man who came here and he sang for us. Or you know, where are you? This man was my MCA from South Mogrango, a place called Chicago, Moramu. Yeah, thank you very much. He actually sang, at the time that we took over government, we thought that we county governments can also have their national anthems. So this man went and developed a national anthem for Kissing County. I don't know where I took it, but I was very, when I saw him here, I saw a very healthy, fat-looking young man. So I was wondering who it was with a fantastic haircut. Thank you very much. You know, I'm happy to see you, and I'm happy to see that you're in good shape. Thank you. And you also sang about me. That aside, ladies and gentlemen, I just wanted to tell you that we have come here. It is the fifth who sent us here because he really loves you people. And every time he has come to the US, he has come here. But you understand the circumstances under which what has happened in our own country. Our own great president, Kibaki, you know what happened, and we've given the moment of silence. For me, I feel very sad because I worked as a permanent secretary, his permanent secretary. He also actually appointed me as the secretary of the Teacher Service Commission. I was in charge of teachers in Kenya. So I feel very sad. But it is our journey as human beings, and we wish him well. Ladies and gentlemen, we have as Azimio a 10-point agenda. Our candidate has a 10-point agenda, which covers some of the issues that especially Daktari raised. That problem that you are mentioning to be resolved. So that road from Nyabururu to Daraja Moja was done. Have you seen how good that road is? The road exists, isn't it? The second thing that I requested was that the road from Daraja Mbili to Nyatieko also be done. So an exit road, it was done. The third thing that I requested was that the road from Matangamano going to Suneka be done up to Kisi Hotel. That is a dual carriageway which is being finalized. And when it reaches the Darajambili, there's going to be a flyover. There will be a road on top and there will be a road below. The other thing that we did was again now to do a road from Gudika right behind the new state house that has been built. And we now have a state house in Kisi, by the way, Nyanchwa, and which gets all the way, and that's an exit road. So you do not have to pass through town. The final thing that I did recently was we did a road from town to Nyanchwa. I don't know whether anybody has seen that nice road. It has completely opened that area. So the issue of roads, I think, and the final problem is the topography of Kisi town. The topography is such that it is in a mountainous area and it becomes very difficult. But I think basically all the exit roads that are ensuring that you don't get stuck in town have been done. And we thank both national government. There are those that county government has done, like the Nyanchwa one, like the one Ufanisi Road was done by the county government, and a few others that the county government has done. So we're trying as best as we can for those of you who are from the Kisi community who are here. I thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. The other question will be answered by my chair there. Thank you very much.
I'm sure the chair will answer that. Now, I want to invite my good friend and my colleague, Senator Kajwang, to respond to some questions here before I give an opportunity to our chairman to be able to give a keynote. But first, let me give you some facts. Because you know we're lucky that we have 2 senators here and 2 governors here. Senor, we in the Senate sent 95 billion shillings to Kisi County since devolution. So the governor of Kisi has been able to spend 95 billion shillings for the last 10 years. And if you look at that amount of money, it is not even half or even a quarter of how much you guys sent. So really, you guys are very important to us. So we are not only here during the election cycles. Apana, my friend, see, you gave us work to do. If we have to come here all the time, your kazi itafanyika. Kweli itafanyika. So, Mr. Chairman, you don't even need to respond to that query, but you can answer it better. But let me invite Senator Kajwang to answer a specific question here. Because, you know, this is a town hall meeting. And Senator Kajwang, there's a gentleman here who has written a question. He said, what plans are there in place for Azimio for the youth? He says, what plans are in place to put our youth in the global employment market? How can a young man or woman in Kenya work remotely for a company abroad? So that is the first question, which is a youth question. The second question, many of us in Kenya and diaspora are youth. What is it? Can you read this? It's too tiny for me to read it. And then you can just respond to the question.
Thank you, Senator Ledamolaki. I'm conscious and I've been made aware that there are those who are reporting their shifts at around 10 p.m. So I'm going to make my answer very brief. The youth is not a permanent stage. I was youth, I still look youthful, and so if we want to fix what we are calling the problems of the youth, they must be the problems of the nation. The problems of the youth are the problems of the nation. And what we must focus on is growth of the economy. What we must focus on is unlocking the productivity. We are fortunate that Kenya is an early adopter when it comes to digital technologies. We have seen what we've been able to achieve with M-Pesa. Today, if you ask Kenyans who they trust most, Kenyans trust M-Pesa more than they trust IEBC. Kenyans today trust Uber, that Uber will take them home safely more than they trust the Kenya police. In fact, Kenyans trust Amazon more than they trust any other institution. We must capitalize and leverage on digital economy, the gig economy already. Uber, Airbnb, etc. is employing more than 30,000 people annually, and it is expected to grow. So in my view, the problems of youth are issues of unemployment, and that can only be sorted out if you have a robust growth strategy and if you have a strategy to unleash productivity. And ladies and gentlemen, the gentleman who was responsible for national planning, responsible for Vision 2030, responsible for the economic recovery strategy of the Mwai Kibaki government, is sitting with us here. Governor Oparanya, Raila Odinga, Governor Ongwae, all these were part of that Vision 2030 that looked at industrialization, looked at ways of unleashing growth, looked at ways of optimizing productivity in Kenya. In my view, it's a long answer, but in my view, youths need jobs, youth need decent environment for them to thrive, and that can only be done by attacking the things that hinder us from growing and attacking the things that capture our productivity as a country. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. And then maybe just to, before I invite Pinky, who is Pinky? All right, Florence. Before I invite Pinky, now I will give you an opportunity to ask questions. Just excuse me, please. It's all right. Let me just do it this way, I'll give you an opportunity. Before I invite Pinky to be able to maybe give us one song stanza, I just want to write on the response given by Senator Kajwang. Let me tell you, right now, we have almost 50,000 youth in Kenya who are working remotely for companies in America, in the UK, in Australia. They are doing that. They are working for accountants. See, there's a company here called Accountants.
Yeah.
Ama, you no longer have that company.
It is still there.
You know, it's there. They are working for financial institutions. They are doing the bookkeeping. They're even working for billings remotely from Kenya because they speak good English and also because of the time difference. When you guys are asleep here, those guys are working. So really, the youth are really working. In fact, they're also geniuses because they are actually doing assignments for people in North Korea, in South Korea, in Hong Kong. Even here in America, some rich kids are paying our kids to continue doing their assignments. So this issue of youth, it is something that Raila gets it. Raila gets the youth. And that is why he's investing a lot in technology. So all I want to ask you guys is to support this man becomes the president. You know. And once he's the president, all these issues you guys are talking about here, he will deal with them. In fact, I want to assure you that even this issue of the consulate, it will be done before elections. See what it was idea? Aya, Pinky, come here and sing so that we can invite Governor Oparanya. Karibu. DJ ngoja paka Pinky afike hapa bwana. Alright, yes, come up here. Hey, you guys, man, clap for Pinky, man.
Thank you so much. Thank you, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Honorable
Okay, thank you, Governor White. Thank you, Senator. Yes, thank you.
Go ahead, DJ, let's do it. We are gonna do it Azimio. Azimio inawezekana? Inawezekana. Yeka hiyo wimbo ya Honorable Raila Odinga. This is the song that we are gonna use for campaigning, and this is the song we will walk him all the way to White House, okay? And then check it out on YouTube. We just downloaded right now. Go ahead, DJ. Go ahead. I sent you the song. Raila Odinga.
No there?
Kuimarisha uchumi na maendeleo, tuchague Raila Odinga. Ili watoto wetu wakasome, tuchague Raila Odinga. Raila Odinga, fagia ufisadi, fagia Raila Odinga, fagia ukabila, fagia.
Finish this. Let me once again thank you all. And I say, as I said earlier, that I know most of you had to skip work just to come and ensure that Governor Oparanya, Senator Olekina, Governor Ngwai, Senator Kajwa, you can actually talk to them. And they have actually listened carefully and they are taking your word into consideration. Once again, back to the diaspora. Asanteni sana. My closing shot. Kwa Governor, I need to talk. Wacha kwanza kusalamia Governor, please, mnaharibu protocol. We won't allow that, please. Mnaharibu protocol, please. Tokeni hapo, please. Yeah, tokeni hapo, tafadhali. Tutakuwa na kwa sekunde kidogo, mtapiga picha na wao, tafadhali. We have to ensure ya kwamba courtesy imeweka. Haya, Governor Ongwae, wakisi wanataka legacy yako iandikwe. Tafadhali, kama hujamaliza hiyo that particular legacy, tunataka iandikwe vizuri sana. Na kama una watu ya kuandika, tafuta watu hapo watakusaidia kuandika. Okay, nashukuru sana. Governor Oparanya, kitu kikubwa tunataka kwanza ifanyike, especially Western Kenya region. Kitu tunaita ama mnyama tunaita Lake Region Economic Block, ambayo nilipewa jukumu kama ambassador kukuja hapa kuhubiri. Tumejaribu kuhubiri, lakini hiyo kitu tunataka isaidie watu ya kwetu ya Western. Asante sana kwa hospitali, lakini bado mambo tunangoja pale tuone vile mtatusaidia, especially mambo ya miwa. Senator Olekina, Senator Kajwa, nyinyi kweli mmesaidia sana parliament kwa sababu ya kazi yenu ya youth. Umesema kwamba youth hauwezi kukaa, leo at least umetujaribu sana. Lakini asanteni sana kwa kazi zifanye vizuri. Alafu kuna kikundi kingine hapa kinaitwa Diaspora Policy Institute. Tungetaka kama ingewezekana, bwana chairman yetu hapo hapa, Bogongo is part of us. Tunajaribu kuwasaidia kabisa. So mtatusaidia tu an MOU. Mtatusaidia kusign an MOU. It's not very binding, lakini we want actually to start speaking. Kwamba the policies tunaweza kuwasaidia. Tunaelewa some of us actually work. Kama mimi Governor Oparanya, nilikuja hapa kama hujajua mzuri sana. Nilikuja hapa kwa sababu ya kusaidiwa na serikali. Mochari ya Kakamega watu hawako wanaweza kukaa pale. Ulijua shida. Hata kuingia mochari pale watu hawangeweza ingia kwa mochari. Unaelewa mzuri sana. In the 2000s. Lakini kwa uzuri yangu na kwa ubaya wangu, nilitembea mpaka kwa ofisi ya Raila Odinga niwaambie Wakenya wenzangu kama hamjui Raila Odinga. Sijasema ya kwamba Ruto ni mbaya, lakini nawaambia uzuri wa Raila Odinga kwa sababu mimi mwenyewe aliniguza. Nilienda huko mimi kijana mdogo kabisa, nikaomba pesa kutoka pale ikuje Kakamega tutengenezee mochari, kwa sababu contractors walikuwa wanakuja wanaguzaguza vitu hapo, mochari kesho yake imekufa. Lakini Raila Odinga aliposikia maombi yetu alinipatia pesa, na saa hii hata nilipokuwa pale our pathologist nilikuwa na yeye juzi huko, nimekuwa Kakamega for some time, 2 months ago nikipigia nyinyi kura, aliniambia ya kwamba kazi nilifanya, makazi tuliyofanya kama kikundi pale mpaka sasa inaonekana. Kwa hivyo youth wakipewa nguvu wanaweza kufanya kazi. Kwa hivyo kama Oparanya tusaidie Lake Region Economic Block, tafadhali kama inawezekana pia tupate nguvu kutoka hapa diaspora, tuwasaidie tafadhali, tuingize ndani pale, tuwasaidie kabisa. Asanteni sana, lakini nimepata special request Governor Ngwae na Governor Oparanya. Kuna mzee hapa anaitwa Tirimba. Huyu ndio mzee hata wakati ya 2007 alituombea kura. Unajua ilikuwa kivumbi sana kubadilisha Wakisii watoke kwa chama walikuwa kuingia ODM. Ongwae anajua sana. Tumetembea safari Ongwae. Sasa wazee kama hawa tulipokuwa tunaweka mbele kwa TV, sio kwa maneno ya propaganda, hapana. Tulikuwa tunaambia watu kweli. Na barabara zimejengwa Kisii kwa sababu ya kazi tulifanya. So wacha mzee Tirimba tafadhali, kwa sababu nimeombwa dakika moja peke yake ukuje ongee, kwa sababu uko mbele ya kamera, watu wasikie maneno unayosema. Asante.
Asante sana kwa wageni wetu mmefika. I think Governor Ngwae, you can remember me when you came here the other time. When you were looking election for second time, I was with a meeting like this one. I told you there is nobody here except ODM, and then you agree with me on that. There is no vote ilikuwa kando kuliko ODM. And today, what I'm going to tell you, or to tell wananchi, we surely speak, kila mtu apigie mtu yake nyumbani simu, dada yako, mama yako, bibi yako, your brothers, stepfathers, to make sure to make through the Raila Odinga. Mumanye na tuakorde la siye de Jimmy Jones. Mumanye na tuakorde la siye de Jimmy Jones. I'm on my way to Ngwae. I will be there. Na ringe Kenya na Ruitoro January 5 this year. The one they crack, my vote is there, and I'm coming there on 29, on August 9th. I'll be voting. I'll be there. Now, we get what we want there, but it's a Raila. I will be in because nimepata shida mimi na Mheshimiwa Raila. Yeye amjui. Raila nimekaa naye kwa muda mwingi sana. Thank you very much for the work. Mheshimiwa Oparanya. Thank you very much.
Tunashukuru na DJ. Sasa tunamaliza. Thank you for coming and all that you have done, for your patience and everything. So, I'll ask Pastor Licky to pray for us. Now, when we call you next time, I believe we will have more time to engage. If you didn't have time to speak today, you will have more time because we just started. Thank you very much.
Let's pray. Our gracious Father, God in heaven, what a wonderful meeting we have had. Seeing our leaders whom we have been watching on television interact with us and share with us the vision that our presidential candidate, His Excellency Raila Odinga, has for Kenya. You gave us that son. You've seen him through a lot, even as he has worked to make that country livable and a better place for many. He has suffered detention, but he has not been deterred. He has been tear-gassed, but he has stood firm. His eyes on the ball, because Kenya must be liberated especially economically. Listening to the governors here, His Excellency Oparanya, His Excellency Ngwai, the Senators Olekina and Senator Moses, our hearts are gratified because he is surrounded with brains that can move Kenya forward. Listening to our people here in the diaspora, Lord, all we want is not them to come here every week. We just want a relationship. We just want a link where our ideas are taken to the table and where our brains are utilized so that together, because our roots are there, because our people are there, we can build our country. So we pray that you will bless these leaders. You will bless Baba, especially with long life and good health, as he goes into the grueling campaign period. May your grace be sufficient with him in every way. I know Kenya is mourning, and we mourn too the loss of our president, Kibaki. We pray, Lord, that you will console the country and the family especially, as our leaders travel in this nation, meeting people, take care of them, give them a good night's sleep today, and as we go back to our places, be with each and every one of us. And finally, when they will be flying back home to join the campaigns, we pray, Lord, that you will give them journey mercies. Now that we have heard the message, now that we have believed the message, let us now go and share the message. Because it is then and only then that we will be able to eliminate thuggery and stealing from the coffers of the government so that money can build our nation for the betterment of each and every one of our people. It is our prayer in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Alafu na Dr. Rugombo amenijulisha kwamba ukitoka, bila alikuwa amesema tafadhali rejista na diaspora. Tafadhali rejista na diaspora. Tafadhali, tunataka kama na wakuja hapa mbele, upigwe picha tafadhali. Tunataka kama na wetu wakuja hapa mbele tafadhali. Kama na wetu na watu wetu wanasimama, tafadhali kuja hapa mbele. Tafadhali kuja hapa mbele. Tafadhali kuja hapa mbele. Because of time, tunawataka hapa because of time. Tafadhali. Tunawataka hapa tafadhali. Gavana kwanza. Gavana kwanza tafadhali. We need a commemoration. Gavana kwanza tafadhali. Gavana Oparanya hapo hapa kweli? Okay, thank you very much. Senator Kajwa, please. Senator, alafu, come on, listen.